replacing the coolant for a 2010 Honda CR-V. What this entails is basically draining the radiator and the reservoir, and I'm not doing the entire system. It's just changing the coolant from the radiator and the reservoir. You're supposed to do this based on the dealership, every 30,000 miles, but I usually do it every 40-50,000 miles. So let's get to it. In front of your car, right under where your license plate is, if you go right under, you're gonna see almost like a glass up here. In there, if you look in there, there's a small like a plastic cap. If you twist that counterclockwise, the coolant should drain out. So that's what we're about to do. Let me see. I just don't want to make a mess. Let me see if I get this ready. So you gotta have something to catch the coolant when it's coming down. Here we go. There we go. It's draining. So remember, this is really bad for animals. So you have to make sure you recycle this. Your local recycling center should be able to accept this. If not, maybe one of the mechanic shops nearby. But you have to recycle this. You can't just throw it out. Animals will drink this because it's very sweet, and it's definitely gonna cause them to die. So I'm gonna open the radiator cap. So make sure make sure that your vehicle is actually cool. Just gotta wait like an hour. I usually give it like an hour. So I'm gonna open the radiator cap. This will allow air to go in, and it should drain out, drain easier. There we go. So this is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna freeze the video here. I'll come back to you once this is over. Waiting for everything to drain. All we gotta do is take this cap off from your reservoir. Pull the reservoir out of the hook. Sometimes it gets a little bit tricky, but let's see if we can get it out by hand with one hand. If not, there we go. Alright. So I'm gonna pour everything back in here. So this is almost over. We're gonna put the reservoir back on the car, so make sure you put the cap back on. Come on. Let me just pause the video. Let me just screw this on with 2 hands. Finally, the two hands was easier, definitely. So now we're gonna try to squeeze this reservoir back in here. See if I can get it in there. If not, gotta take the cap off. Alright. That should be easier now. So again, try to squeeze it in here. Now, just in case, when you're putting the reservoir back in here, this clip right here that you see here, this kind of like a little indentation right here, it has to fit right in here in this small bracket. So I have to kind of like drop it in there slowly, and I guess I have to put my finger in here so I can hold it tight. Now once it's down here, see this clip here, that has to fit into that groove. Almost there. Try this again. There's not much space to work with here, but let's see if we can get this working. the phone like somewhere where I can. So let's see. Here we go. It looks like it's about to go in. Oh, that took a little time. There it is. It's in. So once it's in, all we gotta do is now put the cap. Actually, we don't even need to put the cap back on because we're gonna have to fill it up with coolant. So I'll do that last because I want to leave whatever extra coolant I have. I'll pour it in there. It's been about close to 10 minutes so far, and this is still draining down, still coming down. So while I wait for that, I'm just gonna tell you about what I'm gonna be using. This is this from the Honda dealership. It's antifreeze coolant type 2. It's a 50 preluted antifreeze. So you don't have to add water to this. It's already pre-mixed. This cost me about $19 each one of these gallons. So I'm expecting to use 1.5, but I guess we're gonna find out the process. Also, I'm using this no spill coolant filling funnel. This basically is a kit. I bought it in Amazon. Can't remember how much I paid for it, but I'll try to add a link to this. It comes with different attachments. So it comes with different attachments. It has this piece here, which blocks the fluids from going back down through the funnel. So that's basically when you want to stop it from running into the place where you're draining into. And these are all the attachments that you attach to the vehicle. It depends the size of your radiator cap, but one of these is going to fit your car, and then after that you just put the funnel on it. What comes with is antifreeze coolant tester for testing ethanol glycol solutions with a radiator, whether it's hot or cold, doesn't matter, it'll work. So after looking through, this metal piece B with the plastic piece C actually worked just fine for this vehicle. So in case you were wondering how to use this, plastic piece C goes down through there, piece B in here, twist is in, funnel attaches there, and this goes in to block. You release it to let the coolant go down. Finally, it's done. It just has a little drops, but that's good enough for me. This took about 20 minutes probably. I thought it would be shorter. Now all you gotta do is tighten this, and you do that by turning it clockwise. And all you gotta do is do by hand. You don't have to use any tools to tighten that. Alright, so now we get to the top now. We're gonna fill this up. To fill it up, I'm gonna try to pour one bottle first. Yeah, it doesn't fill it up too much because when the air is escaping, it's gonna just throw a bunch of that fluid up, and it might come out of that the funnel. So always be careful with that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna put just that on top just in case, so it doesn't spill anything over. I should have used less, but it's just I'm using one hand, so it's a little bit difficult to pour everything carefully. So as you can tell, all the air bubbles are escaping. Alright, now I guess we can go to the next bottle. Alright, so just pour like a quarter of the other gallon, probably close to a quarter. So I'm gonna try to pour a little bit more. Fortunately, it's so difficult to carry this with one hand. I'm gonna see if I can pour it. There you go. Alright, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna close this by pushing this down in there. Should be able to come off. I spilled a little bit, but what we gotta do is I'm gonna try to open this up a little bit so that I have space to put the funnel in. Come back. Oh, great. See, it barely fits in there. Alright, so now I gotta just be careful with this and just open it. I gotta use two hands. There's no way I can do this with one hand. Just make sure you fill it up somewhere a little bit above minimum. Once you do that, all we gotta do is I'm gonna put the funnel back on this, and I'm gonna run the car. You gotta put the heat up also to the max, and pour some fluid in here, so that way it can release the bubbles and any gaps will be filled with the fluid. Fill up with fluid now, so I'm gonna go inside the car, and when you go inside the car now, make sure your heat is max. Turn on your car. So I turn on the car. There you go. So maximum heat. You're gonna let it run. You should monitor the temperature of the car too. Make sure that it doesn't overheat, but we're just starting, so it's kind of cold outside too. So we're gonna go outside and see if we're getting any fluids out, any air bubbles out. Actually, you can't really see with this camera. It's not focusing well, but over there you probably will see air bubbles coming up. I guess I'll go outside and show you. So see, little by little, air bubbles start coming up. So just give it some time until the car is warm enough, and once it's warm enough, you should be able to run the car again. And just keep monitoring the air temperature in the car, so that way at least it doesn't overheat. If it does, then just make sure you check the fluid level. So I'm just gonna give it about 5 minutes. Once I see the air bubbles stop, and I'll remove all this and we're done. Alright, so I think I ran it for long enough. I'm gonna turn everything off now. I'm just gonna remove the funnel and top it off if needed, but I think we're done with this. So I just put the cap back on. The stopper is on. So, then pour this back in here. Again, I can't do this with one hand, so I'm gonna leave that for later. Come in here, take this cap off, the attachment off. Take the radiator cap, put it back where it belongs. Make sure it's seated properly, and coolant level is just fine. So we're done with this. just run the vehicle and monitor the temperature. If everything is fine, then we're good. Take care. I hope this helped.